everyone, Kat from Kentucky Reptile Zoo here with part 2 of our baby bonanza. To recap from part 1, between May 20th and July 4th of this year, we had 24 eggs hatch, 27 eggs that were laid, and 107 baby snakes born. So, in that 46-day span, that would bring the total to 158 babies. These clutches came from 12 different snake species. To see the first 6, check out the link below to part 1 of this video. Now, on to part 2! We're starting off the second half with one of our non-venomous species, the Argentine boa, Boa constrictor occidentalis. Of these, we had 19 babies that were born on June 19th, the first clutch to our female. Argentine boas are a large boa species found in southern South America, and they are an endangered species. Jim was among the first people in the United States to breed them in captivity here. Although we do focus on venomous species of snakes, for obvious reasons, our non-venomous snakes have an important role in helping us to educate the public. We have our female Xena, who gave birth to these babies, but their father, Hercules, goes with us to schools, libraries, birthday parties, and events across the state of Kentucky. These babies are also helpful for us at our facility to create a learning experience for our interns. Baby snakes can sometimes be a challenge to set up on a consistent diet, and so this gives the interns something both very cute to work with and a kind of low-level challenge in learning to figure out care for a growing animal. Of course, it is always a great success to us when we have babies born from an endangered species, because this assures the fact that even if they were to face extinction in the wild, their species would not be entirely lost. This next set of babies are snouted cobras, also called banded cobras, Nausea and Ullifera. 9 eggs were laid on May 1st by our female, and 5 viable eggs hatched on June 21st. So having all these baby snakes at the zoo does create a bit more work, but a lot more fun, and it comes with many good benefits. The most obvious benefit to us, since we are a venom production facility, is we'll have more venom. By having more individuals to extract from, that gives us more venom, and it also can increase the variety of venoms that we can offer. If we only had a couple of a species and then they had offspring, that can give us more to provide to medical research. As I mentioned with the boa babies, if we have a rare or endangered species, then we can create what's called an assurance colony. As I said, it is a captive population that prevents that species from facing complete extinction. Having all these babies can also provide an upcoming generation. For our oldest snakes, who were part of outreach programs or venom production, once they retire, these newer, younger snakes will have ideally reached an age and size that they can join in on these different parts of our mission and replace the ones that were there before them. And we also trade with other zoos around the country. You might see on our social media that from time to time we take in new animals from other facilities, but we also offer some of our species out to them. And that way everybody can show new and different species to their visitors, hopefully enchanting them as well with them all. I find snouted cobras particularly enchanting, and I showed each baby in the clutch because you might have noticed their patterns are all quite variable, each one pretty unique from the other. Next is the black pine snake, Pituophis melanoleucus loadingi, of which we had 4 eggs laid on June 26th. 4 large eggs. So different species can strategize their survival in different ways. This snake lays much larger eggs, even compared to other species of similar size, which means there will be fewer babies, but bigger babies have access to bigger prey, and they are less vulnerable to predators than a much smaller baby. Another strategy is having a large number of small babies, and those individual babies might not each survive as easily, but there will be more of them, so there's a higher percentage that could make it to survival. Both strategies have their pros and cons. I'm also happy to report an update on these. On September 5th, those eggs started to hatch, and now we have 4 black pine snake babies, another endangered species that we're happy to have here. Our next clutch comes from the Russell's viper, Daboia russellii, of which we had 11 babies born on July 1st. In part 1 of this video, I mentioned that we separate the babies after they've shed for the first time, and this usually takes a few days to a week. And it's true that snakes overall eat less frequently than other animals, but baby snakes need to eat on a regular schedule. We are able to wait until they shed for the first time, though, because in the egg or in the egg sac, the babies are supplemented by their yolk via an umbilical cord at their mid-body. This umbilical cord will break away right when they hatch, or when they're born, and the yolk that they received prior to hatching can sustain them until they get to their first shed. Next up is the Brazilian lancehead, Bothrops mugini. We had a clutch of 21 babies that were born on July 4th. So if you want to get into the actual details of how snakes are birthed by ovoviviparity, we'll have to talk about snake bodies. Snakes have intestines, which send urate and feces out of the body. Female snakes also have oviducts, where eggs or babies are developed, and then can travel down the oviduct to exit the body. The intestine and the oviduct, though, do not each have a separate opening leading directly to the outside. They both have an opening into a space called the cloaca, and the cloaca is the main opening to the outside. So when people ask, where do baby snakes come from? They come from the oviduct, but literally from the cloaca. Baby snakes are most often developed through the process of internal fertilization, in which sperm from a male is used to fertilize the egg carried by the female. Snakes can do an interesting process called retention, in which the female can actually store the sperm and fertilize the eggs at a later date, so there doesn't need to be an immediate presence of a male. Another process they can do is called parthenogenesis, in which a female can actually develop babies without the genetic input of a male. So there are a few interesting ways in which we can get new baby snakes in the world. The final bunch from our baby bonanza comes from our Terciopelo, Bothrops asper, who gave birth to 22 babies, also on July 4th, just like our Brazilian lanceheads. There are many myths about venomous snakes. One of the most common is that babies are more dangerous than the adults because they can't control how much venom they give. But both parts of this are untrue. From birth, all venomous snakes are capable of delivering a venomous bite, and they are always able to control how much they give. They may give more in proportion to their body size, but that makes sense. They are smaller, and they have more potential predators who are much larger than them at that age. An adult is capable of giving a higher volume of venom, but also has fewer predators and therefore less need to give a large portion of venom in defense. They give a much higher volume of venom when using it for its intended purpose, which is immobilizing and therefore catching their prey. It goes without saying, though, that any venomous snake, whether a baby or an adult, or how much venom they give, should all be given the same amount of respect and space, and that no venomous bite is worth the potential risks or outcomes. So I hope you enjoyed this video about some of our new additions. Please feel free to like this video or subscribe to our channel for more reptile-related goodness, and as always, thank you for watching!